we joined in 1960, and the date actually was November the 13th. John and I belonged to a church in Glenview after World War II, and John was very much for his country as well as for his God, and he became disenchanted with the service of that church. He felt they, it was turned the other cheek, which is Christian, but he felt as if they were ignoring their country and the obligations we had. So he said, let's visit around and see other churches. So we came over and visited different churches in Wilmette, and we settled here because I think John was basically a Methodist. But anyway, Dr. Crow was a pastor at the time, and he was a very intelligent man, probably, what would you call, sort of an academic person. He wrote wonderful books, and his sermons were very serious. So we joined this church the same year we visited it. But Dr. Crow, we were here only 2 Sundays, and one day we came home from playing golf in Glenview on a Sunday afternoon, and there was Dr. Crow waiting for us in our driveway. That was the kind of personal touch we had. My son was baptized here, my 2 girls were married here, and my husband was buried here, and I've been here for a long time. So my life is really intertwined with Trinity, and there's a warmth here that comes from being here forever, and many people have gone and come, and I miss all the people that we used to know, but it's a warm home. We've had a lot of experiences with this church and the people in this church, and that's what makes family. That's what makes you feel warm and welcome.
We came in 1967. We moved here from a smaller community, and I didn't feel at home at all for a few years.
In the community?
We had been in a school situation and then a university.
A campus situation.
University
campus,
community
like
where you just, your family from the minute you get there. And then we came to a different kind of job for Don, and I didn't really know the people that he worked with and didn't live close to them. And I didn't know the people in our school system, and I didn't know my neighbors, but at Trinity I started making friends and feeling at home. And so it has been my second home from the time we moved here.
Tell them about Carolyn Dunkel.
Oh.
That would have been the pastor's wife.
Pastor's wife,
Okay.
and she was a sweetheart. And we had been here a few months, and I commented to her that I just felt like I didn't know anybody, and nobody knew me, and I said, I really think I could probably drop dead in my own kitchen and nobody would ever know it. And so the next day, the phone rang, and I answered, and she said, Clea, this is Carolyn.
Oh my gosh.
Are you alive?
Oh, she had a good sense of humor. That's great.
So it was touches like that were important.
That was very,
When we first came, Bill Dunkel was new. He had been here 1 year when we came.
Talking about Bill Dunkel, and we don't need to feel like that's a specific thing, because what we're talking about has carried through other ministers as well. But the thing that I think tied me to this church, they have you fill out a form as to what have you been doing and who are you, and he evidently learned that I had been in education, a professor and stuff. But I've been here about 5 months, still feeling my way, and he asked if I'd be willing to start on an experimental basis a Sunday school class, an adult Sunday school class. We had a wonderful class. It was a lecture by people who knew what they were doing. I'm sure you went to it. But he said, there are people here who wanted a discussion group. Would you mind convening it for 6 months as a trial? Well, I taught that class for 7 years. But that did more to bring me into Trinity, spiritually and psychologically, than anything I can think of, because if you feel you go to a place that's new and they say, will you help us? That's what he said.
Yeah.
Mary Lou was not able to be with us today.
That's too bad.
I know.
Claire, we should tell her the 1 or 2 or 3 sentences she said they were so meaningful. You remember that?
Well, she just said to me, I can talk about the food pantry. I got into this because I know what it's like to be hungry. I went through that in World War II in Germany, and I saw a need, and I knew that was something that I could do.
We talked about the friendliness of the church when we came here, but this church has so many young families with young children. And they're nice to us. They're nice to Claire and me, even though we're beginning to have white hair. And that's
You
the
were born
future.
with that white hair, weren't you?
Practically.
Red. That's something that happened decades ago, but it's still here in a different way. And they're the lifeblood of this church. I could name names, but I don't need to. You know who they are.
Yeah.
But I just hope we never forget that it ain't all in the past.
Yeah.
It's here today. I want to mention something else that this church offers and still offers. The music here
Oh, yeah.
is thrilling, inspiring. It's not as good as it used to be because I used to sing bass for 26 years, and Claire, you sang for 37 years.
We have 4 paid professionals. The rest of
Yeah.
the choir does not get paid. Someone said to me yesterday, we are known for our wonderful choir, but then why shouldn't we be paid? Because everybody in the choir is paid. And I said, oh, no, 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 no.
Goodness.
Now, people have strange ideas, and we better set them straight.
Choir is, to me, it was like a family, but that was the place I really felt at home. And I wouldn't have missed a choir practice for anything. And I'd be, extremely tired and think, oh, gee, I wish I didn't have to go tonight. But invariably, if I'd go, by the time I left, I felt great.
But the architecture itself, even without the music, does that. I mean, look at this church. It's reverent. It's sacred. The lines and colors lead you somewhere in your mind and in your spirit.
I think anybody that walked into a church like this is going to feel some reverence.
Why do we invest, and why should we continue to be stewards of this investment? Yeah.
If you think how much this structure has meant to Ruth and Claire and me, and we're not exceptional in any way, we are obligated to pass that gift along to people and not let this place become shabby or even unappreciated.
We have a heritage. All the hundreds and hundreds of people who have worshiped here in these same pews for years and years, we are responsible for it now. And awful lot of people made a lot of sacrifices to build it and worked very hard to have it here and to maintain it until we came along. So we have a period of our lifetime that we're responsible for keeping it intact to pass on to the next generation.
Yeah. It's been said that life is not a race to be won, but a journey to be discovered or a book to be written. And Mark Twain said, he's quoted as saying, "Life would be infinitely happier if we could only be born at the age of 80 and gradually approach 18.
And how old was he when he said that? I don't think he was as wise as we think he was.
At 87, which I love, I just love that age.
Every age, do you love every age
Yes,
now?
I do. I remember when I was 80. I thought, that's a big number. And I came into this church, and everybody I met, I said, I'm 80 today.
He took a cake to his gas station and his barber.
I took a birthday
That's great. A cake?
And to where
cake.
else?
Yeah.
To church.
A piece of cake or a cake?
No, a whole cake.
A whole cake, birthday cake. And you brought one to the church staff.
Brought one to Trinity, to my barber, to my gas station guy.
That's
You
amazing.
I was happy to be 80.
Yeah, ritual.
Well, wait till you're 90. It's even more fun.
If life were to be a race to be won, we wouldn't know the finish line, we wouldn't know what race we were in when we were 18. And if you don't take life as it comes and as you live it, you would miss a lot. It does unfold, and you have new visions, new plans, new hopes, new heartbreaks as you move along. But to try to think, I would like to know where I'm going, you couldn't anyway.
And you know, when you take a journey, you really don't know what's around the next bend. That's an old-fashioned saying. What's around the next bend? And if you're taking a journey of life, that's exactly the way it is. You don't know where you're going. When you're born where you're born, and you grow up where you grow up, and then as an adult, different things like wars come along, and jobs change, and so you go where life takes you. So it is a journey, and you don't know what's around the next bend.
Right.
Well, I think we spend too much time looking forward to something. We look forward to when our babies get out of diapers, and we look forward to when they're in school, and some people look forward to when they retire. But then we don't enjoy every single day. And I can remember my mother one of her favorite things to tell me was, anytime, oh, I wish I was in high school. I wish it was Christmas, whatever. And she would always say, don't wish your life away. And I think as the older we get, the more valuable we know that every single day is.
On my kitchen cupboards, I have all sorts of things that are pasted up with Scotch tape. In fact, they're sort of a mess. I have one that says, all yesterdays are gone. There are no more. And tomorrows, we don't know whether we're going to have any tomorrows. All we really have is today. And I think that's the way most of us live.
If you're always looking ahead, you'll miss so much more than you would have found later on. Life is not a static thing. Each thing that happens to you each day influences who you are and who you will become. And if you're not thinking about today, you're missing a lot of tomorrows.
And there may not be tomorrow. That was the whole thing that's pasted on my cabinet. There may not be tomorrows, but there is today.